There are those that believe in freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and freedom for humanity, and then there's those that just play at it. They might poke it with a stick from time to time, but deep down they don't really believe in it, not wholeheartedly. And then there's a third group, a group that saw a hole in the market that was worthy of exploitation, because after all, freedom lovers, they've got cash on the hip too. Groups 2 and 3 have spent the last few days viciously attacking and even calling for the arrest of the British cartoonist Bob Moran. Now, Bob, you may recall, was the cartoonist for the mainstream Daily Telegraph newspaper before being let go for his pro-freedom and anti-COVID fascism drawings. COVID was a weird time, wasn't it? What's Bob done to upset these faux freedom warriors, then, you may ask? Well, he drew a picture. Yep, the anti-wokers are offended by a cartoon, and they're not even offended for themselves, but they're offended to the point of contacting the police on behalf of the cartoon subject, Benjamin Netanyahu. They're offended on behalf of a soulless and completely corrupt war criminal who sold his own population to Pfizer as lab rats back in 2020. He's a nice bloke. More offended that the cartoon depicts him feasting on the flesh of dead Palestinian children than they are by the massacre of over 25,000 people in Gaza, over 10,000 of them children, all on the orders of Mr. Netanyahu. They're offended by the perceived anti-Semitism, because of course any criticism of Israel and its government is anti-Semitic. Them's the rules. That's why Twitter went from a pro-censorship platform where you couldn't call out Israel to X, a pro-freedom of speech platform where you can't call out Israel. It's seamless. I'm a free speech advocate, these people claim, but I'm not an absolutist. So you're an advocate for free speech when you agree with it then? Got ya. And if you don't, get the Metropolitan Police on the phone. After all, they don't have enough stabbings to investigate. Of course, when you go back to these people questioning why they think the police should arrest someone for a cartoon, they'll say things like, oh, so you should be allowed to call for the death of all Muslims then? Nope. Incite to violence, incite to kill. There's laws for that already, mate. Oh, so you should be allowed to claim someone's a paedophile, say, and ruin their lives then? Nope. Defamation, slander, libel. Laws in place for that as well. Next. But many are defending Bob Moran and pointing out the similarities between this and the Charlie Hebdo attacks, in which cartoonists in Paris were slaughtered, it's claimed, for the magazine's offensive depictions of the Prophet Muhammad. It's not similar in the murderous nature of the attacks, of course, that would be a ridiculous claim, but it's worth pointing out how these same people going for Bob now jumped to defend Charlie Hebdo's right to depict Muhammad however they wanted, on the basis of free speech and expression. So what's the difference? Where is the Je suis Bob hashtag? The lineup of morally bankrupt politicians, all arm in arm to exploit the situation. Who was front and center of that completely stage managed show of solidarity again? I forget. Was his name Ben or something? While I see the reasons that people are pointing out the hypocrisy here, the current pylon actually reminds me more of the infamous Mir One mural. Now, an American artist called Mir One painted a very powerful image of bankers playing Monopoly on the backs of a naked and crippled population. The artwork was labeled anti-Semitic and was used some 6 years after its creation to try and destroy both Mir One himself, but also the then Labour Party leader, Jeremy Corbyn, who had previously admired the artwork. Of course, Corbyn caved to the mob like a wet cake, because that's what Corbyn does, see Brexit. But I was more interested in finding out what the painting was really all about, and so I actually interviewed Mir One back in 2018. The image depicts Rothschild, Jewish, Rockefeller, not Jewish, Morgan, not Jewish, Carnegie, not Jewish, Warburg, Jewish, and Aleister Crowley, not Jewish, so I'm confused. So is Mir One in trouble for all of the men in the mural, or just 2 of them? And would Bob Moran be in this trouble if his cartoon depicted, say, Vladimir Putin feasting on a Ukrainian child, or Xi Jinping, or Bashir al-Assad, or Ebrahim Raisi? Now, if the answer is no, which of course it is, why is that?